Hey y'all, welcome back to Ascending with Ashley. I'm Ashley. This is Storytime slash daily decolonizing. I want to talk about being the cycle breaker or the generational curse breaker in your family, especially if you're white. That's what I am in my family. If you haven't watched my daily decolonizing about family and friends, go watch that. It's fun. But I want to talk specifically about my relationship with my father and my relationship to the church. And how I have reclaimed matriarch for my family line. So, the thing that just came to me while I was doing my hair, I always braid my hair at night, but I just brushed it out and it's like super fluffy. But anyway, as I was playing with my hair, I was thinking about my dad and thinking about my path. And how I have arrived at this destination in this time with my son. So where we bought our land, so since my father's passed away in 2002, he passed away. I have kind of changed my relationship to God. I've shared before that I left the church pretty soon after he passed away. And had started my own relationship in spirituality and my own relationship with the creator, divine, universe, whatever. So one of the things that's, I'm a very firm believer in everything happens for a reason, but you also have free will and fate, and like life is kind of like a choose your own adventure, same as the Bible. They're like, choose your own adventure, remember those books? And so that's how I approach life. Like you get to choose your own adventure. If my father were alive, I would not be able to live like that. I would be heavily in the church, probably conservative and very problematic, which most of my family still is. But because of just because of everything that happened and my adventure and journey, anyway, I'm getting off topic. The main thing I want to share is that, so I live very close to reservations for Hopi and Navajo. Those reservations, we're right here. And the land I bought is even closer to the reservations than this town that we're living in. City, excuse me. And there are lots of trading posts out here. There are little places. Well, I shouldn't say little. I don't mean that in a degrading way. I mean it in scale. There are stores that are called trading posts along the highways, and there are places for Native folks to, share their gifts, like basket weaving or beading or whatever it is that they do, with folks who are not Indigenous, right? And those are called trading posts. And there's one called the Hubble Trading Post that is very close to where I am. I haven't been there. I don't know if I was there because we used to vacation out here. My dad had retirement. My mom and my dad had retirement land in Prescott where I went and got my master's degree. They were land in a subdivision, and my mom sold it after my dad passed away. My dad's car that I inherited, a Chevy Blazer, had the license plate Easy Dream. It was my dad's dream to live out here. And he really respected Native folks and Native culture, and we had lots of Native things in our home growing up, lots of the rugs on the wall, and a lot of those came from folks in this area. And he was also a Christian, so it was very missionary based, right? It was cultural appreciation, but also very cultural appropriation. And my path has been very different. And again, if you want more on that, I've talked about that with my living relatives in the daily the decolonizing from family and friends. So anyway, the year before my father passed away, he was out here on an adult mission trip, and they went to the Hubble Trading Post. And when he got home, my mom recalls it as life-changing for him. My father was a very stern, religious, typical white corporate man, okay? Wealthy, just a little, okay. But he also had very, I didn't know him very well. I didn't get a chance to know him very well. He had a big temper. I inherited that temper. But yeah. So my mom calls it as very life-changing for him. And then he, within months of being home from that, was diagnosed with cancer. And he lived with cancer and fought cancer for 9 months and then passed away. So since that, I didn't really know about the mission trip at the time when I was that young. I was going through my own shit. I was in middle school, maybe the beginning. No, I was like a sophomore. I was a sophomore, I think. And so, I mean, if you remember that time of life, it's just, you're in your own fucking world. It was also the time before, like, everyone got cancer. Cancer was still, like, very rare, and I was one of the first people in my class to lose my father. There were a few of us, though, by the end of high school and graduation. There were quite a handful of us who had lost our fathers, which was interesting. Various reasons. But anyway, I communicate with my father. I'm on my own spiritual path, and I have chosen my own adventure, and it has landed us here. And like I said, I'm the curse breaker. I've had to do a lot of work. I was in an interracial marriage. My son is mixed. I had to do a ton of white supremacy, internalized generational and ancestral work. And I'm still not done with that. I feel like that will continue until the day I die in this body, like as a white person, it is deep. And my marriage was very challenging because I suffered immensely from white savior complex and still do to certain degrees, especially with the animals. If you watched about the animals earlier, like I'm taking care of all these animals, I don't need to do that, but it's something I do because of, internalized guilt from coming from colonizers. So anyway, I have not yet made connection with the Hubble Trading Post. It is something I'm hoping to do. It's something I'm hoping to make that connection and kind of undo whatever wrongs he did. And I don't think, like I said, his intentions weren't evil, but he was coming from a Christian, evangelical, if you don't believe in this, kind of the same way the residential schools are, very colonized, but under the umbrella of religion. So I just wanted to share. I think it's helpful for us to share these stories, especially for folks who are, dedicating their path to undoing the wrongs. And it also serves as a way to heal from the grief, I blamed myself for my dad's death for a long time. Because, I was teenage angst and, wished he would die at one point, like in 8th grade. I've experienced a lot of death. I've been thinking about this a lot today. Like a lot of my male friends or relatives have passed away, in my life. The first one being in 3rd grade. We were swimming in gym and my friend passed away, like he drowned. And then my prom date passed away and my other friend passed away and my dad passed away. My grandpa's, they both got to live relatively long lives, very long lives. They died like in their 80s. But I've experienced a lot of male death, which is interesting to me. Also, just a fun fact is that, like, my mother's dad, my father's dad, and my dad are all Leos, and I gave birth to a Leo. And I've made mistakes, don't get me wrong, we're all human and make mistakes as parents, but I'm definitely parenting very differently than how I was parented, with my mistakes, and also even acknowledging that I'm making mistakes to my child and apologizing, like, that's very different. But I just wanted to get on here and share because just a reminder of, like, everything is divine, especially if you allow your choices and choosing your own adventure to be divine. Also just want to, you don't have to have a relationship to different realms that everyone else in your family has had. If that doesn't feel right for you, it's okay to do something different. It's okay to trust your own intuition and spirituality. It's okay to learn about other cultures, about other religions. I highly encourage it, actually. And if you do learn about other things and then still choose to stay in that, that's fine too, There's no right way to, like, well, as long as you're, doing the best you can, and continuing to grow from the wrongdoings and choices, and, calling yourself out when you can, that's all shadow work. That's all decolonizing. But I just wanted to get on here and share because my journey has been incredibly divine. Did I finish telling the story about the car? So I inherited my father's Blazer and I crashed it, like flipped it 4 times, after I had had my license for about 9 months. So he was already passed away. And I got into a really bad car accident. We were fine. Everyone was fine. But, like, that was wild. Anyway, so that was, like, interesting. But yeah, it was my dad's dream to live in Arizona. And here we are. I also, when I went to go get my master's degree, I got my master's degree in social justice and human rights, which was what I was always interested in, but I didn't know it was, like, an academic study until right before I got in to the program. I almost did the Peace Corps, actually, and that would have been really problematic, so I'm really glad that I went this other direction. But all that to say is that, when I went to Prescott, and that's where my parents had land, and that's where I stayed with my friend who passed away from drugs. Like, he didn't pass away while I was there. He passed away the year Niall was born. But, he, like, just being in Prescott was so surreal. I did a lot of research about my parents' land. I went and found it. And then, like, the subdivision had been completely developed, like, when they bought the land back in 2000s or late 1900s. Oh my God, what? That was weird. Like, it was undeveloped land, right? So they were gonna, like, build their own house. So I found the plot and, like, did all this, connection. And really just, I feel like as living relatives, these are the things that we can do for those who have passed to help support all of the bloodline. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm just sharing how I've done these things. I think I really believe in signs and, like, tons of signs. When I was, like, coming out here to Arizona, like, I did a road trip to get my master's, and I saw so many hawks, and my dad was, like, a birder, a bird watcher. And so hawks are a really big symbol. Rainbows are a really big symbol. Certain numbers are a big symbol. That's, like, how we communicate, among other things. But I'm a medium, so anyway, calm down. But yeah, so I'm really looking forward to in the future. And that's also how I came upon doing, like, what I'm doing with the art space, and, creating this business that I've created, A Future for All, which is not about white saviorism. It's about, like, community, which I never would have had that frame of mind without my master's degree and working in Skid Row and meeting Niall's dad and learning about actual community, because that's not really something that the suburbs have. And so it's been quite the journey. I'm excited to continue living this journey. I mean, it's not done by any means. I'm excited to hopefully meet folks from the Hubble Trading Post that worked with him. But I'm not quite ready for that, just because I would like to be a little bit more established. And, you know, I'm not here solely to do that. You know, if it feels good, we'll do that. But, knowing that it's a possibility, I guess, is the exciting part. Knowing that I can meet folks who met him, and I can offer an apology, or I feel like there's a much better word for that. But like, I can carry that out. And that is a part of my, I'm gonna start crying. That's a part of my path. And then also while laying the work and rooting for Niall, so that, you know, Niall has a forever home and a job to step into if he needs to do that, you know. If not, that's fine. But yeah, so those are the things that I really wanted to share. Like I told you, during daily decolonizing, I spend most of my time watching and listening to other spiritualists and receiving messages about my path, and continuing to walk in that. And I received a lot today from like my guides and my team, and was like receiving congratulations. So I just wanted to share it here. It felt like the right time to do that. But yeah, it's bedtime, so I'm gonna let you go. But thanks for being here, and if you'd like to talk about your path or anything, I'm available. We have to, it's my job, so if you want to schedule a session with me, let me know. We can pull some cards or do things to connect with spirituality in a way that you're comfortable with. I'm totally open to whatever that looks like for you. But yeah, all right. Have a good one.